Hello, Big Blue Nation. Drew Franklin here with Tyler Thompson, Jack Pilgrim. We are in the Fiserv Forum, home of the Bucks and Marquette. High above Illinois' open practice right now. We got a little McNeese Clemson on the big screen. That's a pretty surprising score, but the March Madness is already happening here in Milwaukee, even though the games don't start till tomorrow. We saw Troy's practice. We saw Kentucky's practice. We heard from both teams, their coaches, into the locker rooms, and we're going to give you a little brief, rapid reaction here together before we head on our way and go find some beer in this city. But first, shout out to SeatGeek. You can come here in Milwaukee tomorrow night. Maybe Sunday, hopefully Sunday, get tickets in Lexington to go watch not the Louisville Cardinals. Maybe go see women's basketball in Kentucky. Whatever you want to do, go to SeatGeek and use promo code KSR10 for 10% off. If you don't want sports, find a concert. They have 70,000 events every single year listed on SeatGeek, and that is KSR's favorite place to get tickets. Use promo code KSR10 for 10% off. Go do it. Go watch Creighton. We're big Creighton fans today. Go Bluejays. But let's talk about what we got going on here. I watched Troy's practice and Kentucky's practice. It's hard to get a good feel for these. They're kind of just glorified shoot-arounds. I'm going to be very careful in my analysis of Troy. One guy over here had a few things to say about an Oakland team last year. Didn't think they looked very good. We know how that went. So I will just say, Troy, you look excellent. I'm not going to judge a book by its cover. They were pretty loose. Weren't making a lot of shots. I'm already afraid I'm saying too much, but it got a good taste of seeing them a little bit. Heard from Scott Cross, more Waffle House talk. I think you even got some Waffle House orders in the locker room, Jack. Is that true? Was that still the talking point around Troy?
I did. I asked for all of their favorite orders. Got a lot of all-star specials. Got a lot of grits. It was good. Good little variety. No, somebody said there's like a team retreat every time they go. One player told me that they go 3 times a week, and that's like because they're dieting. Like hey, we're cutting it down to 3 Waffle House trips. So Waffle House is the talk of the town. I asked a lot of the players about, like, hey, this time last year, Jack Golke was sitting in that exact chair and kind of called his shot and said, hey, you guys don't know who I am right now, but you will in 24 hours when I become a March Madness legend. He called his shot. Unfortunately, to our detriment, we hate his guts for eternity. But I asked them, like, hey, do you use that as kind of motivation, chip on your shoulder going in there? Like, we're just kind of happy to be here. We're just grateful for the opportunity. I'm like, all right, cool. No like attention-grabbing, headline-y things that the players are. They're just very grateful for the opportunity, and that has me feeling a lot better than I did this time last year against Oakland.
Their coach said they're going to rely on offensive rebounding and toughness. At a shoot-around, it's hard to see the offensive rebounding and toughness. I will say their big guy, 6'8", Thomas Dowd, he takes the most threes. He was knocking shots down and looked very loose. So if there is going to be a villain, and hopefully there's not, I would watch out for him. He's a tough player. Otherwise, we'll see. Excited for tomorrow. Tyler, you were at the Mark Pope press conference. Any breaking news? I saw he had all 5 starters up there, and they talked for almost 30 minutes. So you're a recap of all that.
There was a ton to cover. We'll start with the question everybody was asking about Pope today. How much gas money did he give Big Blue Nation? I asked him that to start off the press conference, and he said he's purposefully not keeping track or not telling his executive assistant to tell him how much he's given. But he said he admits that probably wasn't the smartest thing he's ever done. But I think it's going to lead to an incredible atmosphere here. There was an interesting spin on the whole Jack Golke thing. A reporter asked all of the players where they were this time last year when Kentucky got beat by Oakland. And Andrew Carr had a great answer. He was like, I remember watching that game. I remember, being just stunned that Oakland beat Kentucky. But without that result, none of us may be here. And that's a very, very true thing. So I'm choosing to look at it like that. Now, hopefully Kentucky avoids another first-round upset because I don't want to know where we're going to be a year from now if that happens. But I thought that was a unique way to look at it.
Their coach, Scott Cross, said he's not really focusing on how Kentucky lost last year because it doesn't matter. Everything's changed. But he did play all of the 14-over-3 upsets that have ever happened to let the guys know it could happen. So it is on their brain a little bit. You're in the locker room with Kentucky as well, not just talking about Waffle House. You're getting a recap from all the UK guys. Did they seem loose? Any new injury reports, since that's maybe something we got to focus on with this team every day?
We got a positive news update on Travis Perry. There was some speculation about what his availability would look like this weekend. He came into open practice with his right wrist taped, and we're like, we don't need that. We enough guard injury bug has bit the guard backcourt especially. No more of that, please. He confirmed that he is totally good to go. He looked good in the open practice. Said, it's college basketball. You take bumps and bruises, and life happens. But I'm fine. I'm excited to play my first March Madness. Talked a little bit to Kirk Kriisa, and got that was our first time getting to talk to him since the Gonzaga game, since his injury. So it was kind of cool getting some perspective from him. What's it like being a cheerleader on the sideline versus actually on the court helping out? an update on his status on whether he's going to be playing for Kentucky next season, what that looks like. He said that, he's focused on this run right now, not focusing on what the future looks like, or whether it's at Kentucky or playing overseas or at another school, whatever that looks like. So some, vibes are good, some newsy updates from the locker room.
I was watching Kerr closely in the practice, so they were just right in front of me where I was sitting, and he kept saying, "Let's go dogs," like be dogs, and then as players would shoot a three, he would go woof, woof. It wasn't even an intimidating bark, but I guess that's his contribution to the open practice. Jackson Robinson had a big brace on his wrist, but he was throwing one-handed assists to the players. They were having a lot of fun, but we did have one awkward moment. But I know Pope does this silence during free throws at the Joe Kraft Center. If you haven't heard, he's mentioned that all season. He wants it to be completely silent. He's even asked people to leave practice at UK during their free throw shooting at the end of practices. He actually made the DJ here stop playing music and told fans to be completely silent. He told Stan Van Gundy to be quiet. I mean, I know that's what he does, but that was awkward, right? Like, you could hear a pin drop in here as the guys were out there. It's even amazing they were able to create that environment with a decent crowd and so much going on, but it was absolutely silent here.
Yeah, like you said, we've heard about that all season, but it was just very eerie. You looked around and everybody was quiet. Like, you could literally hear anything. But, I guess it was successful. It draws the players' attention, and I don't know. It was weird, though.
At first, I thought we were having a moment of silence for Louisville, but again, we haven't played our game yet, so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But he's talked about that all year long and why he does it.
And I think Stan Van Gundy said something like you can't shut me up, and then it's like, no, we're telling you to shut the hell up. Like, you do not say another word. Like, everybody just kind of stood and was like, all right, I guess we're doing this. It worked. It feels like that's how they get in their moment. That's how they, focus, become one with the basket. I don't know. Mark Pope does a lot of interesting things, and that was one added to the list.
I'm not trying to get too excited because, again, these practices don't really translate to the game. But from what I can see, I don't think Andrew Carr missed. I don't know who you all were focused on. Andrew Carr was hitting everything. They were running a three-point drill, kind of an around-the-world thing. He did it quickly. He would go up behind Almanor and just shoot one over the top of his head. That went in. Ansley hit a few, but the team looked pretty good. I mean, just taking open shots and just kind of goofing off a little bit. But I feel like the vibes are pretty good. Are your all's vibes pretty good now that we're here at a tournament? We've been to a lot of these here recently. Hadn't been that fun. Are we going to have a longer stay this time?
I sure hope so. I mean, that's been the running joke with all the media here. It's like, we've got to at least make it to the second game. But another injury update that has my vibes feeling good was Lamont Butler. He said his shoulder is, quote, feeling better, and I kind of kept an eye on him during the open practice. He seemed fine. He's still wearing the big brace, but it didn't look like he was limited. He had full range of motion. So, he's played in 11 NCAA tournament games, which is kind of insane. He's got the nickname LaMarch, and the players all had, they said that they're really relying on him. They feel confident going into this tournament in part because of him and his experience. So I'm ready to have Lamont back on the floor.
Really kind of weird moment where we got a group picture with the media and the team. That's never happened before. We get, I don't know if you can see from up here, an old friend, Orlando Antigua, is somewhere. Got to say hi. So, looking back of the old era with John Calipari, definitely didn't get group pictures with the media and John Calipari's March Madness appearances. So that was kind of just a unique, hey, everybody come on in. We're one with the same. So different, unique perspective that, turn of a new era.
It was usually, why is the media here? Get them out. Pope was like, everybody get in here for a group hug. We didn't get to because we were working. Shout out to KSR, always working. But that was pretty cool change at the times. And you mentioned Coach O. I haven't seen Coach O since the big breakup. And it's not lost on me. I was very critical of the old coaching staff. I was a little nervous about a potential run-in with Coach O, but you all were there. He ran up and couldn't be friendlier. We have a little thing we say to each other. Some of y'all, I've mentioned it before. It's a little vulgar. From the show Succession on HBO, but he ran up, said it to me, dapped me up, said hi to these two. So it's good to know that even though he's in different colors and we had a bad split at the end of last season, Coach O, we were still big fans of him at KSR. It's good seeing him. We also had an awkward just Mark Fox talking to Tom Crean over there, two former Georgia coaches. I guess Tom Crean's here is he with CBS? To be honest, I don't even know what Tom Crean's doing here. But yeah, he and Mark Fox were talking probably about Mike White. I don't know, but that was just a little interesting dynamic. Overall, though, I thought these crowds aren't always great unless we're in an Indianapolis or a city really close to Lexington, but I thought it was a decent Kentucky turnout. I didn't get a full head count, but there was a pretty good crowd over there, right, Tyler?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you've got your usual people you see. It feels like the same Kentucky fans who come to every single road game. They were here. It was good. I think most fans with the Friday evening tip are probably going to drive up tomorrow morning, or maybe even are on their way as we speak. But the team did the thing where they go around and shake hands, which was really cool to see. I'm sure a lot of Kentucky fans who don't normally get to see Kentucky were able to come today and have that special moment. So overall, I think the vibes are really good. We had the Pope media picture. We had the reunion with Orlando Antigua. We had Louisville losing on the very first game of the tournament. So that's got to be a good omen, right, Jack?
God, if you're listening, please give us this. We got water bottles getting thrown on the floor, Pat Kelsey getting ejected, or technical foul, whatever. He got ejected from the tournament, so they're all the same thing. Just give us one night. Let us enjoy this. We need this. It's been way too long, and I'm glad I just want this monkey off of our back as a fan base.
Not looking ahead past Troy, one game at a time. We learned our lesson, but I will say, if it gets to Illinois and they have their own game to win, they have a great turnout here. This is just as full as the Kentucky practice was. I know it's ending now, so not the best time to zoom in on it, but I will say if we get to Sunday and Illinois is the other opponent, I think it'll be a pretty split crowd, but hopefully we'll figure that out later. Right now it's all Cats tomorrow night, 7:10 Eastern, 6:10 here. I guess we're all going to go see what Milwaukee's like. Got a few things on the to-do list. Got to get a Kopp's burger, maybe a beer or four. Enjoy the scenery. But thanks for tuning in here. We'll have more from the practice press conferences on KSR's YouTube channel. We've really got this thing covered. That's why we missed the media photo. We're working so hard. Steven behind the camera, he's working the hardest. So thanks for tuning in. Stick with us. We'll be here all weekend, hopefully, working hard. Shout out to SeatGeek, promo code KSR10, and shout out for everyone watching at home. Thank you for watching, so we can keep doing what we enjoy doing, which is watching the Cats in the NCAA tournament. And this time, Jack's going to get a long stay at the tournament. We're feeling it. Go Cats.